meeting of the Gettysburg Area School District Board of School Directors on this Monday, December 17th, 2018. Purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Public comment is welcome, and issues will be referred to the appropriate board, committee, or administrator. Please know that issues will not be debated in this public meeting. Comments will be summarized in the official board minutes, which will be available by contacting the business office. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. I want to welcome everyone that's here tonight. Thank you for your attendance. And Mrs. Collins, we have 5 board members here out of 7. Mike Williams is excused. I had not heard from Jim, so I'm not sure where Jim is, so but we'll excuse him. Something must have happened. All right, would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any notices and communications from any board members? All right, next we have citizens participation. Brent Talbot.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you so much for letting me speak tonight. I just wanted, I'm here to address an issue that I've witnessed as a professor of music education, the coordinator of the music education program at Gettysburg College over the past 9 years that I've worked at the college. And so I'm going to take some time, and I'm hoping that by bringing forth my kind of observations and concerns that perhaps the school board will take some interest in some of these concerns and form a committee to look at some of the kind of areas that I'm concerned about in terms of the music education program within Gettysburg School District. So over the past 9 years, I've been witness to 2 positions being cut and not being reinstated. And there's a lot of evidence to me that I see that there's a real need for additional music personnel within the school district to address some of the concerns that I see. So the first thing is, I know that in the past there's been a number of issues, and I consider myself a relatively smart individual. I do a lot of research around education policy, and the work that I look at is always looking specifically at numbers. So I kind of start with that in mind. And I know that the school district's population of students has declined, and so there may be reasons that have been stated by school board members in the past as the reasons why it was necessary when particular individuals retired that maybe we didn't reinstate some of those positions. But there was one recently that I would like us to take a closer look at, and I hope that some of the ideas that I'm going to share with you is that what we see, yes, is a declining population across the school district in terms of students, but we see an increase of participation within the music programs. And just to give an example, primarily my biggest concern is about the middle school. 10 years ago, the 7th and 8th grade chorus, the population of that particular ensemble was 19 members. Which, could make a lot of sense for one teacher to be kind of taking on. And over the past decade, we've seen that grow to 108 members this year. And I go in frequently to work, shop with the choir directors, the orchestra directors, and band directors, and general music teachers regularly. And I was in the middle school this fall working with Megan Kulwa, who asked me to come in and help her prepare for the upcoming concert and just workshop for groups. And I couldn't help but notice that there were not enough there was not enough space in the room to accommodate the 108 students that were in this. And one can look at that and say, wow, that's amazing. And you should be really, really proud as a school district, as I am, that there is so much participation happening at the 7th and 8th grade level. But one of the concerns that I do have is that you have one teacher who's working with 108 students. And I don't know any other field and any other subject area where it is appropriate for one teacher. Think also wisely that, and this is no slight on the teacher that I was working with, she had the class under command and things were going quite well. But there are lots of options and opportunities there for things not to go well, with 108 students and one young teacher. And so this was a phenomenon that occurred for me when I was a 7th and 8th grade choral director in Brooklyn, New York. And I grew the program from about 40 to 120. And some of the creative ways that I worked on was to, make sure that if I was going to be asked by the administration to do this, that I would at least have some additional supervision and assistance. This is my understanding from hearing from many of the music teachers in the school district that there is not additional assistance provided within their classes. And that goes for everything from kind of special assistance needs and accompanying another thing, except on special occasions to prepare for a concert a couple weeks prior. So just thinking long term, put yourself in that situation. There are laws in our state that dictate about the amount of students that are appropriate to be assigned per class, and we allocate those appropriately for math and English subjects, and we don't allow more than usually 25 to 30 students in a particular classroom setting with one teacher. And so that ratio seems really off-put, especially with teachers' demands to be providing student learning outcomes and being able to make measuring and evaluations and assessment that is appropriate for doing so. It's very difficult for a teacher to be able to provide that feedback, not only for the student's success in terms of vocal health and development on their instruments or in their music, just general musicianship and the things that we would want them to, but there's a real lack of ability to kind of provide that for also the parents' needs and the various stakeholders that might happen within the assessment kind of stakeholder trio. So I want to kind of bring that to attention and advocate that we really need, as a school district, an additional music teacher put into the middle school. And this is an issue for a number of reasons, not only because of this kind of enrollment issue and the safety concerns that I just brought up, but there are some other issues that come to fruition here. That we have no representation currently in the middle school who is a full-time middle school music teacher employee. All that we see is a transient group of teachers moving in and out of that building who are deeply invested in the work that they do and care deeply, but do not have the time during the day to meet with other team members and other things because they're having to fly from the middle school ensemble starting first thing in the morning to the high school ensemble starting, and then maybe coming back and doing general music classes or other such work later in the afternoon. So with that, both at whether the students are, the teachers are going to the elementary levels and teaching instrumental lessons and coming into the middle school, teaching some general music classes, there's no static person to be able to provide the support and continuity across. And I've seen a great decline in the quality of music education at the general music level specifically within the middle school setting. This addresses another issue that we have in music education where the law states that 100% of students must participate in music and arts up until 6th grade. So we have 6th grade general music currently in the middle school because we are mandated to. But the trend that I see would be if that mandate didn't happen all the way K through 6, I wouldn't be so sure necessarily that we would even have general music in the middle school. We have currently no 7th and 8th grade general music at all being offered at the middle school because there's not enough personnel to be able to provide that. We are the only school district in Adams County to not provide 7th and 8th grade general music. Because of the fact that we have Krista Creel, who's teaching 7th and 8th grade orchestra and the 9th through 12th grade sequence of strings. And we have Wally Choplik, who's doing the band program, and we have also Jamie Bowman, who's doing the entire choral sequence. Not only does she do 7th and 8th grade chorus and the high school choirs, but she also does the 6th grade chorus as well. we do not have the ability, or the teachers do not have the ability to be able to offer additional electives at the high school level because they are split between these buildings and there's no offerings that are happening. And I see that the preparation and issues that are occurring with a number of my students that I work with, not only privately in my private studios, but I also see it happening and being able to make comparison across different school districts, as I have many different private students from different schools. I also see that we don't have kind of a real support here for them to be well prepared to go into college with the theoretical knowledge, the history knowledge, and the background if somebody does want to pursue a music degree. And so just to give you a comparison, I'd be happy to also share this kind of these notes that I provided here for myself in this presentation. I did just kind of a poll across the county and asked all of, because I'm often coordinating with student teaching placements and I'm asking my own developing teachers to go out and do work with teachers in the area. I do want to know with the Adams County Music Educators Association what's being offered across. And so I did a kind of poll and asked everybody to give me their kind of schedules. And I can tell you, as I pointed out, that we are the only district not to provide 7th and 8th grade general music. And that affects, of course, the personnel affects the high school offerings. The only offering outside of the large ensembles, that's band, orchestra, and choir, is a music theory class that is offered on a rotation once a year. And it is team taught by 3 teachers, which, to their credit, they do quite well with, but it lacks the continuity because there's not one person who can teach that solidly because of their schedules. For example, Bermudian Springs offers, outside of their ensembles, a band, orchestra, they don't have an orchestra, they have band and choir, but they offer American popular music, world music, sound engineering, a steel band ensemble, and a music theory class, and they do that every year and almost every semester. In Fairfield, a much smaller district, they offer music appreciation and piano courses. In Littlestown, 2 different music theory classes, a guitar class and a ukulele class. In New Oxford, which has the most offerings outside of the ensembles and a robust ensemble participation with an orchestra, a band, and a choir, they offer guitar, piano 1, piano 2, a voice class, a musical theater class, a music theory class, and a percussion ensemble. And in Upper Adams, they have they have a piano class that meets every day. They have a guitar class that meets every day, both semesters, and the piano class also is offered both semesters. They have a music theory class and a music appreciation class. And I just want us to take a moment and think about the impact. We are in a musically rich school district. We have so much support for the arts around here, outside of the community, and I don't necessarily always see that being supported within the schools themselves. And that's a position I would like us to reconsider. And I'm happy to submit both of these as evidence and documents. And I did not come here to bore people with a big research kind of subject, but if you would like a literature review, I'd be happy to give you plenty of scholarly articles to read, both that I've written and others have written about the benefits of music education in our schools. Should I submit these to somebody?
Sure. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
We appreciate your comments, your concerns, and we will turn it over to the proper administrators to look at. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one last point. There have been 2, Stacy Berwick's position was eliminated when she took a job, I think in Wisconsin or Minnesota 3 years ago. She was the full-time middle school position that was offered. It was not replaced, and the music department has put in 2 proposals, one last year and the year before. And I don't know if they've ever been brought to the school board for consideration. And that's something I think should be investigated. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, board committee reports. Any reports?
Here's an easy one from the Communications Committee. I'm boring you to death because I say this at every meeting, I think, but our next meeting is January 23rd.
The policy committee met recently. Our only agenda item was the district calendar, which is a pretty important issue. We do plan to bring a draft to you, to the board on the first meeting in January as an informational item, and then the second meeting, we're hoping we can vote on that and get an early start on that. We had several teachers that attended the committee meeting and gave input into it, and Dr. Perrin was going to work with the administrative team to get their input as well. So we look forward to bringing a 2019-20 district calendar in early January.
Thank you.
Mr. President, from the Finance, Buildings, and Grounds Committee, I would solicit the support of the board for an item later that we will be looking at related to the purchase of Chromebooks. It was something that was discussed in November by the committee. They looked at the upcoming increase in tariffs and how they might try to find savings by making that purchase earlier. And $21,000 in savings is what was learned through the research. And there was some cost savings in the current year's purchase of Chromebooks. So that all that remains of the cost is $647 to transfer from the budget to budget reserve to make that purchase a year earlier and save $21,000. And the next Finance, Buildings, and Grounds Committee meeting will be on Thursday, December 20th, this week at 4 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Building program information. Dr. Lay.
Good evening. Last week I was able to attend a class conference with Ann Baum and Lisa Roig. It was a great event, and the main focus was about preparing our kids for the innovation era. And we learned a lot about the efforts the state is making to offer opportunities for students, one being a PA Smart Grant. So Ann and I also were able to complete that application with the opportunity to target our middle school learners for next school year with affording them computer science instruction and an integrated approach with our math and science teachers. We'll look forward to hearing if we get it funded and moving forward with that beginning February of 2019.
Since the last board meeting, we had our first we call parent engagement activity on social media. It was on December 5th. The parents who attended thanked us for offering the information. So we'll continue to look at those and offer some of those as evening events for areas of interest. So we're working on one right now for April, and once the details are ironed out, Andrew will send information out as he did with the social media item. We get back in January, looking at doing a optional book read for anybody in the community looking to spend the winter days reading. The book's called Most Likely to Succeed. It's a follow-up from a book that was called Creating Innovators, same author, and probably over the 5 or 6 years that I've been reading the same author. Some of the ideas I think are tied to some of the things that we're doing with personalized learning, mass customization, and also it's kind of where public ed is headed down the next 10 to 15 years. So we'll get that information out when we get back from the holiday in January. So looking forward, anybody that wants to engage in that, let's have like a panel discussion at one of the schools, and Andrew and I get the information out, work out the details, go from there. Also on January 7th, as you mentioned in one of the board updates, Dr. Lay and Ann Baum and a number of the principals will be here to do just an overall kind of achievement update, achievement report. We do quite a bit of testing. Sometimes it's formative, sometimes it's summative, but it's important, I think, that folks understand kind of the big picture and what all those various data points tell us, but more importantly, what kinds of decisions we make given the data that we have, and how does that influence our practice and the types of things that we prioritize. We do last year was the first year that we scheduled kind of formal board visits to the various schools. We're looking to do that again this year and perhaps do it a little bit earlier and spread them out over a longer period of time, from maybe like February to April, as opposed to once a week for 5 weeks. But at this point, likely wait until we get 2 more board members on board before we look at setting those up. But I think that it was fantastic last year. The buildings really appreciated the board being there, and I know the board members, you all responded how much you enjoyed going in and having this conversation. So we'll look at that again this year. And one final item, just from me personally, wishing everybody a happy and safe holiday season.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt?
Thank you. With us tonight are our auditors from Stanbaugh Ness. Krista Gardner, CPA, is the principal for the not-for-profit governmental practice there, and with her in the back is Rick Hogenkover, who is also a principal with the firm. They'll provide information on our fund accounting performance for the last fiscal year, 2017. They'll also provide some information regarding governmental accounting standards board reporting requirements, GASB. You'll hear about that. GASB requires, among other things, that in addition to the state-required modified accrual basis you're familiar with as we develop our budgets, that we also provide our financial picture in a full accrual business model format, which is quite different. Presenting financial results is with what is essentially two different accounting models